Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this Supraliminal Films, Supraliminal Games, YouTube Magic Arena video. Long title, I know, but we'll get right into it. Why am I here? What am I doing? Who am I? Well, first, to answer that last question, I'm Dan. Why am I here? To play some Arena, specifically Brawl. What am I doing? Playing a Brawl deck that I was challenged to build by one of our Twitch chat members and longtime friend and fan of the YouTube channel and the stream and such other things. Goes on Twitch by the name of Gimble, a personal friend I've known for over a decade now, and he said, hey, I want to make a deck around Narset of the Ancient Way, and I would like it if you did too. So, I did. That was a few weeks ago now. I've been tinkering with this for the last couple of weeks. I've probably put, to be perfectly honest, more time into dealing with this deck from a tinkering and brewing standpoint than I have with any deck I've played on Arena in some time, because that's not really where my strength lies. Not the biggest like tinkerer, brewer, or whatever else. Normally, either I'll come up with a list if I'm coming up with it myself, or I'll just copy someone else's list. Either way, but I don't take a lot of time to like iterate and iterate and iterate and iterate. But with this one, I have been, and I think I've landed on a pretty solid list. At least, I think so. The list is available linked on our AetherHub account, which can be found directly beneath me right now. If you want to take a look at it, I've also got it up here, obviously. When he first challenged me to build a Narset deck, I said, okay, well, non-creature spells are what we want to be doing here. And mainly my secret goal was to be able to get up to her ultimate and just start casting non-creature spells and doming our opponent and killing them that way. But what I figured would probably be the better way to actually go about winning would be Planeswalker Control. Because when I think non-creature spells and I think power, I think Planeswalkers. Fortunately, right now we have a lot of very powerful Planeswalkers at our disposal. And so I think this is the kind of shell in which we can do that. So I've got Narset, obviously, as a Planeswalker, and then for additional Planeswalkers in the main board, we have, or the main deck, we have Narset Parter of Veils, good to find other Planeswalkers, also good to stop our opponents from doing things like drawing extra cards, which catches them every now and again. Dovin, Hand of Control. This is a control deck. We're going to be looking to bubble some of our opponents' more powerful creatures, or Planeswalkers that deal a lot of damage. Either anything that deals a lot of damage, we can bubble with Dovin a couple of times. Feels very good to have an opponent get an early something large and just be able to go, no damage, no damage. Teferi Time Raveler, an absolute staple at this point. Plus, it's great against other control decks. If they're not going to be casting removal spells or counter spells on our turn, that feels very good. It's a bit more insurance that we can do what we want to do. One of the things this deck doesn't have a lot of is creatures, so we have Saheeli Sublime Artificer as a way to make creatures when we're casting Planeswalkers, when we're casting draw spells. It's a little bit of a nombo with all of the board wipes that we have, but it's still, I think, worth it for the things like cast an Arcane Signet, make a thing, cast a Counterspell, make a thing, cast a Draw Spell, make a thing. Seems pretty good. On the 4-drop, we've got Chandra Fire Artisan. This can be a win condition. Just drawing an extra card every turn is really powerful, and getting to 7 our opponent is really powerful as well. Also, having to take damage to kill it from our opponent's side always feels pretty good. The Sarkhan the Masterless is one of the big win conditions in the deck, other than, trying to hit Narset's ultimate, because I've attacked for 20 and or 25 many times with this deck over the last couple of weeks, just by casting Sarkhan, plussing him, and turning everything else sideways. We have Chandra Awakened Inferno, another win condition here. Awakened Inferno's +2. While you're controlling the board and keeping your opponent off of resources and keeping them with no creatures in play and stuff like that, that 1 damage a turn or 2 damage a turn, however many times you've gotten the emblem on them, really does make a difference. Ugin the Ineffable is a great 6-mana removal spell that you can use a couple of times, usually, without too much difficulty. Also, it makes creatures, which this deck does need every now and again. So that's our main deck Planeswalkers, and like I said, we have Narset. We are running we are running Field of the Dead. We're running Karn's Bastion to proliferate all of those Planeswalkers. I also want to give a shout out to secret additional Planeswalker that's not actually a Planeswalker, Outlaw's Merriment. I put this card in the deck after I got my face pushed in the dirt by another, it was just a Boros deck that had dropped an Outlaw's Merriment on turn 3 because they had an Arcane Signet, and I just couldn't keep up. Every turn, a new creature that had haste, that had an ability. The life gain was not a nothing. The 1 damage wasn't nothing. The Outlaw's Merriment has been a real... It's done what I wanted it to do when I saw it in that set's preview season, so that was pretty cool. Additionally, running a lot of board wipes. Realmcloak Giant, I think I've cast the Giant itself maybe once, maybe twice. Cast Off is just a 5-mana Wrath, as far as I'm concerned. Time Wipe is another 5-mana Wrath. Elspeth Conquers Death isn't a Wrath, but it gets the most important thing out of the way. Storm's Wrath is pretty close to a Wrath. It's a little bit, again, of a non-bow because we have so many Planeswalkers, but boy, can you clear out an opponent's like cheap, quick stuff with it very, very well. And then Shatter the Sky is actually a Wrath. Feels pretty good. We're really light on creatures in this deck because I just didn't want to put a lot of them in, but I put what I think are probably some of the best creatures available in Standard right now in these colors. We have Brazen Borrower. It's great. You know it. You love it. You've seen it. You've been annoyed by it. It's a tempo spell. It's a removal spell if they're making tokens, and it is 3 damage in the air if they can't block it. Pretty succinctly. We have Cavalier of Dawn, which I have been not terribly in love with the triple white in its casting cost, but getting to just vindicate something, or beast within something, I guess, on our opponent's side of the field is pretty good, and getting an enchantment back when it dies is not nothing as well. And then we have probably the 2 best creatures in Standard, if you're looking for high mana cost, in Agent of Treachery and Dream Trawler. Dream Trawler is the real deal, and I think I've gotten more concessions to resolving a Dream Trawler than I have to any other card in the history of my time playing Magic, so that feels pretty great. Honorary creature, Shark Typhoon. It does make a lot of creatures, Sharknado. When we're casting all these Planeswalkers, like casting a 6-drop Planeswalker and getting a 6/6 with flying is just butter. Absolutely great. Also particularly personally in love with Whirlwind of Thought, getting to counter our opponent's spells or wipe their board or whatever else, which missed Deafening Clarion in the discussion of board wipes, while drawing an extra card there. Doing that is so amazing. Plus, it's got Narset in the art, so it's thematically appropriate for the deck. Then we have Mass Manipulation. I have probably cast this card twice because quad blue is even harder than the triple white on Cavalier of Dawn, but ooh-wee! When you resolve this card, like, I don't think I've cast this card and not won the game on the following turn. It's very much like Insurrection in Commander. You just, if you cast it and you're not winning, it's fine. Card that's eaten the most removal so far for me is Midnight Clock. Everybody, Shock, doesn't want me to Time Twister, so I end up having to deal with their removal for my Midnight Clock, but hey, I'll take a 3-mana Mana Rock and just deal with it when they remove it. Major credit to Tail's End. I was real hot on this card for Commander when it came out because it counters commanders for 2 mana, and it also counters triggered abilities, and I have countered a fair number of things in both of those categories with it, and it feels very good, especially if you tap low to do something but leave 2 mana up and your opponent's like, aha, now's my time. I'll slam. There are no good 2 mana counter spells. There are, and this is one of them. Mana base is pretty succinct, to be honest. It's 5 white sources, 5 blue sources, 5 red sources. Castle Ardenvale makes tokens. I don't find myself tapping it that often, but it does. Castle Vantress, the Scry is great. We don't need Castle Embereth because we don't have enough creatures in the deck. Then we have a bunch of 2-color lands. We have the Triome, obviously. Command Tower, Fabled Passage, obviously. And as mentioned before, Field of the Dead doesn't happen often, but this deck definitely struggles for creatures. So just having a Field of the Dead occasionally make a creature feels pretty good. I think that's pretty solid through there. Counterspell Suite is Tail's End, as mentioned. Thassa's Intervention, Ionize, Absorb are both just really solid counterspells. Like, these 4 counterspells are very, very good. And then we have some spot removal in Conclave Tribunal, Banishing Light, and Elspeth Conquers Death, as mentioned before. And we'll round it out with Chemister's Insight, which is just a great repeatable card draw spell. You can also discard it if you need to for whatever reason and get it back later. And Smothering Tithe is again another card. If you can go on the play, Arcane Signet on 2, Smothering Tithe on 3, your opponent's just going to be buried under a Cavalcade of value. So, go for that. Neutralize, also a counter spell that cycles for 2, so not really anything special there. You can counter a spell, or you can draw a card if you need to. I think I've probably done each equally. So, let's get into the Brawlers Guild Hall and give this boy a shot. Or I guess this gal, because she's a lady, Narset. So let's play a couple games, see how the deck turns out. Hope you find this to your liking, Gimble. Thanks again for challenging me to do it on stream. If you're out there in viewer land, listener land, whatever you want to call yourself, YouTube land, make sure if you want something similar to challenge us to build a deck, let us know in the comments or reach out to me on Twitter. I'm at @ChampBlankman. I can be found pretty easily, and make me build a deck. I enjoy this. Opponent goes first. We can lead on a Field of the Dead into an untapped land and an Arcane Signet. We can then play a tapped land, and or we can lead on Hallowed Fountain, leave the Field of the Dead for later. That allows us to play a turn 3 Teferi while playing the Field of the Dead tapped. That also works, and I like that line. So let's go with that. Also, depending on how things shake out, we could play a turn 3 Narset, which I also don't mind. Our opponent is Vivian Monster's Advocate, so I'm guessing that they are big beefy boys. Okay, we have an untapped land, so let's lead on the Field of the Dead. And it's still going to be a turn 3 Teferi, I think. Probably still the best. Though Narset also good. I could also see an argument for playing Chandra next turn. Basically, we just have a lot of stuff. Alright, Beanstalk Giant, so they're ramping, which is no surprise. I'm just going to go ahead and play this Chandra. We'll miss this Fabled Passage, which is fine. Could have gotten us an island, which would have been nice, but just getting to put down a Planeswalker that we can start drawing extra cards with. Alright, Nissa is going to be annoying, especially because we have nowhere near the blue mana that we want, but if they send it into our Chandra, we're going to send it at Nissa. Okay, no, they didn't. Smart. And Crawl Harpooner. Okay. Finding a way to answer this Nissa is going to be difficult, but I'm going to start by Time Revelaring. It's a bad sentence. One of their lands. Just tempo them off just a little bit. Chandra. Alright, playing land before we Chandra'd was a bad move. I have made mistakes. Questing Beast. And the Great Henge. Okay, well this is definitely going to be difficult. Could go for a board wipe here. That would feel pretty solid, especially now with a Gem Razor. Yeah, gonna need a board wipe here, and gonna need it pretty quickly, because they are going to bury us under a Cavalcade of value. We don't want that. Okay, so that's going to take out both of our Planeswalkers, but it's also going to deal a fair bit of damage to their Planeswalker as well. We did not draw any sort of answer, but we can kill the Questing Beast, or we can kill the Nissa, which is probably more important right now. Draw a Tail's End. We will discard an Ionize and kill the Nissa. We're still not in a good place, but we've been in worse places. Yep, there's the Viv. Making a beast. Board wipe still looks good. Specifically, Storm's Wrath feels great. Put that Narset in the command zone. Because if we don't get a board wipe here, well, that's not a board wipe. That's not a knife. Alright, I don't think there's anything we can do here, but we will try. Yeah, that doesn't do it, but... Alright, so we got a little color stuck there, but we were a board wipe away from really starting to turn it around. Also, not sequencing our lands correctly off of the Chandras wasn't great. We could have had additional blue to go on, but we're here to play games. Let's play more games. The variance that you find in Brawl on Arena, especially in the Brawlers Guild Hall, is kind of huge in terms of both the quality of the decks and the quality of the cards in the decks. Oh boy, Torbran. Okay, we're going to have an uphill battle again with these monocolor decks. Alright, we go first. We can lead in a Sacred Foundry. We can play into a Command Tower. We have a Storm's Wrath and a Shatter the Sky. We just need 2 mana to play either of them. We can get to that pretty easily. We have a Neutralize that we can cycle. The trick to this game is going to be keeping... Not necessarily keeping Torbran off the board, though that will help. It's just keeping stuff off the board. So we'll go ahead and play the Karn's Bastion. We don't want our opponent to be able to get like a critical mass of stuff so that they can beat the pants off of us quickly. Alright, we got a Robber of the Rich. That's going to steal something off the top of our library because of hand size. No, it's not, because I can't count. There was a card hidden up here in the corner. I'm going to cycle this Neutralize because we don't have enough blue mana. We draw a Saheeli and a Thassa's Intervention. We will play the Saheeli to keep the number of cards in our hand low. We just need a 4th mana at this point. It can be any color as long as it's untapped, because we have double white for Shatter, we have double red for Storm's Wrath. So really it just needs to be an untapped 4th mana at this point, and we are better than we're not. Hey, untapped 4th mana. Okay, so now we're set up. We have both of our Wraths. Get an island. Play a Narset, which gives us a blocker. Down Narset to draw a card. Discard the Chemist's Insight. Hit the Runaway Steamkin. And pass the turn. Okay, feeling pretty good. They would have to really jam their hand out at this point, because we can just keep making blockers. Make a blocker. Yeah, the servos can chump all day long. Okay, they're going to wipe our Planeswalkers with their own Storm's Wrath. That's fine. We have follow-up in Narset Parter of Veils. Okay, we whiff entirely, but I'm kind of fine with that. That was a lot of red and white lands. We need more blue lands. Would love to see them go for Torbran at this point. Okay, Novice Pyromancer, that's fine. I'm ready. Let's do this. What are we going to do? We're going to add red, red. And Chandra's Triumph. Okay. Alright, still stuck on mana, but I think we just need to pass because we can Chemisters at end of turn, or we can Thassa's Intervention if we need to, with an X of 2. Alright, so that would tap them out exactly, so that's not going to be worth it. See, they cast, okay. This feels pretty good. They're going pretty low. We're going to hit them with the Storm's Wrath on our turn. We'll cycle the Thassa's Intervention to make some action here. We'll hit them with the Storm's Wrath. Cleanly wipe their board, leave them with 1 card in hand and us with 6. Yep, they'll play another Torbran. We will cast Elspeth Conquers Death to remove their Torbran. Again. We're 1 land away from being able to just steal their Torbran. Which isn't going to work here, so we will just bubble their Torbran for right now. Opportunistic Dragon. Alright, we will get Narset back with an additional loyalty counter on her. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe their board. And put... Ooh, fantastic. I'm gonna put this Arcane Signet in our hand because it just feels like they have 9 mana. They can probably start doing stuff. Alright, Krenko. What do we want to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down 2 goes to 4. Up 1 goes to 5. We will cast Arcane Signet. Cast Cavalier of Dawn. Cavalier their Krenko. And they concede. Okay, yeah, the mono red deck, specifically the Torbran deck, is really a velocity deck, and they just want to get threats down that they can deal a bunch of extra damage to you with, and we kept wiping their board, bouncing their Torbran. I mean, we answered their commander every time they cast it without them getting to deal any damage to us off of it, and that's kind of what we want to do, you know? It felt a little weird casting board wipes when they only had 2 creatures on the board and stuff like that, but hey, it worked. Alright, Azani Thousand-Eyed. This is, it's going to be interesting. Alright, we go first. This hand is pretty anemic because we can't cast anything in it, and we have a free mulligan in this format, so I will take it. Alright, we're here. We've got Tranquil Cove on turn 1. We're running 26 land in this deck, so the fact that I'm continually having mana troubles is pretty upsetting. But I'm going to go ahead and play this Fabled Passage now, because we have nothing we're casting, so we can go ahead and get that taken care of. Our opponent's probably got a 2-drop if I know these decks. Ah, Arcane Signet. Okay, opponent ramping very well here. That's going to be kind of frustrating. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get a mountain, so we have all of our colors. We drew a mountain anyway. Go ahead and play Saheeli. Next turn we're going to play Smothering Tithe, which will give us a little chumpy with Saheeli. Paul Kranos. Alright. Well, we can chump block that Kranos all day long. Whew, okay, they milled their questing piece. That feels good. Just gonna do a little jump here. Alright, we got torn between Outlaw's Merriment or Narset. Narset gives us value immediately because we can get rid of the Excavation Mole. So let's do that. Downtick Narset. Discard Neutralize. Tag the Mole. Call it good. See if our opponent wants to pay the tax. They don't, which is good because now we have a Cavalier of Dawn. Which we don't ideally want to do to Polukranos. We want to command the Dreadhorde. Alright. Well, we're going to hit him with the Realm Cloak Giant. We're going to cast off the Realm. I mean, either Saheeli dies or Saheeli goes to 1. Let's leave Saheeli to 1. Okay, they just elected to kill Narset, which is probably correct. Go ahead and play that tapped. Play cast off. Wipe their board. And again, as I said earlier, a bit of a non-bow. Create a creature just to have it go away. So opponent does have the mana to escape Polukranos, which is fine because we can then kill it with Cavalier of Dawn. Okay, they're going to eat our Planeswalker to extinction, that's fine. If we draw an untapped land, I'm going to play Shark Typhoon. We didn't, so just going to play Outlaw's Merriment. Start the value train that way. See if our opponent wants to pay the tax again. They do. And they did an Evolving Wilds the end of turn. Okay, Guardian Project, you got it, opponent. I'm going to play Midnight Clock because we still don't have the mana to cast Shark Typhoon. Play the Narset. Take a look at what's on top. Deafening Clarion seems pretty bad, to be honest, so we'll take an Arcane Signet and tag our opponent for 2. So we're generating a lot of onboard just trigger value here, and we're taxing the crap out of our opponent, which also feels pretty good. Okay, so Izani, going to draw a card. They're going to make 8. Oh wait, they're not going to draw a card. Haha, that's how that works. Having that absorb would have been nice. We're going to go ahead and play the Arcane Signet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. We're going to go ahead and Cavalier the Izani. And we'll activate Narset. Blank. No attacks. Because now we got blockers. Will they pay our tax again? Nope. Well, we'll use this opportunity to take some tokens off the board. Because Narset's still going to die, but we'll take some tokens and gain some life. Alright, Golgari Finebroker. What are we getting back? Probably, oh, I don't know, Questing Beast would be my get, I think, out of their graveyard, but I haven't seen the entirety of their graveyard. Ah, they're going to get Thrashing Brontodon. Alright, they want something that'll deal with our enchantments or our artifacts. We'll resolve that. It's probably going to be Midnight Clock that gets the axe here, because Midnight Clock always gets the axe. I'll take the free mana. Yes, they're drawing cards, but I'll take the free mana. Okay, Smothering Tithe is going to get the axe. I mean, it makes sense. We did get a ton of value off of that. We'll tag down another token. I think we'll go ahead and cast Narset here. We'll tick her up. Just gain some life. And then just pass the turn. See if they take the bait of attacking our Planeswalker. I want to get them, now that we have a time wipe, I want to get them to commit to the board a little bit more. If we can get them to commit again, we can, you know, if they want to recast Izani, which they can do. Okay, we're going to... Yeah, we'll let him mutate a Great Horn here. The more they commit to the board, the better this is for us when we do eventually board wipe. Glowspore Shaman seems fine. Whoa! Ah! That was a big hit. An Ugin and a Casualties of War. Yikes. Wowie zowie, that was huge. That was huge. Okay, so they're going to send everything at Narset. We will pass to blocks. Kill things we can kill. I'm going to put Narset back in the command zone. I'm going to once again puzzle as how I have... We are going to counter that. I'm going to once again puzzle as to how I have 26 land in this deck and have seen 5 at this point in the game. Okay, there's a 6th. So we can finally cast a Shark Typhoon, which we actually could have cast last turn, but who's counting? And we'll pass the turn. Still looking for our opponent to overcommit. Still got a couple more turns before our Midnight Clock hits, which is going to be pretty good value. We do always have a Realm Cloak Giant that we can cast as well. Feels pretty good. Getting to Time Wipe back the Cavalier of Dawn is going to feel pretty nice. Okay, we're attacking all out. We're going to block here. We're going to block here. And we're going to block here. Going to gain some life about it. Opponent's really going for it with the attacking. I think they want to fill their graveyard. They are 12 cards deeper into their deck than we are. Alright, back from... Okay, yep, Gonna leave a Massacre Girl on the board. Let's resolve all of this. Yes, we will in fact do that. Given they have a Guardian project, I will definitely replace Mothering Tithe. Oh, big Molder Hulk. Yep, you got it, opponent. Get back a land. Hey, thin your deck, opponent. This looks great. We won't add another counter to Midnight Clock because we're not in a great rush on that. Okay, things we want to do. I'm going to go ahead and... That's got Menace, though. No, I still want them to commit more. So I'll just do this, make a 4/4, and Tribunal the Molder Hulk. Yep. Then I'll hit him with the Smothering Tithe, make another 4/4. And we won't attack, we'll ship the turn. I realize with the amount of mana they have, taxing them isn't, like, super important, but it is something that we can do. Sure, opponent. You got his Oni back. Yep, keep thinning, opponent. Gonna block. You got it, opponent. Face, which should probably be confusing to them. Going to play this tapped. And we'll return a token to our hand. And time wipe. Frustrating we're going to reshuffle the Dream Trawler, but I'll take it. With this many permanents out of the deck, I'm kind of excited to get a recycle on. Especially the Time Wipe feels pretty good as a recycle. You know, the only thing we lost in all that was Saheeli. Feels pretty good. Our opponent just keeps drawing cards. Down to 19 cards in their library. We're about to draw probably a board wipe, statistically speaking. You got it, opponent. Yep, you got an Ugin opponent. I don't think it matters if I do this at end of turn, but I can do it without popping treasure, so I'll do it. Put the 12th counter on. Reshuffle. Draw some cards about it. Make 3/1. Fabled Passage. Gonna go get us an island. Do we want to mass manipulation? Probably. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4, we can do 3. We can steal 3 things. Steal their Boneyard Lurker, an Arcane Signet, and a land. 2 things? 1, 2, 3, 4. Cancel. Blue. 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 And then 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Creatures and/or planeswalkers. Wow, I'm an idiot. Okay. We're gonna not do that. I am a big dumb. We're just gonna do this instead.
I know my responsibility.
Gonna bounce their Arcane Signet, draw a card. Yeah, timeout used. I got a lot going on, opponent.
I have a plan.
Okay, there it is. There's a burn spell. Or a burn spell. Board wipe spell. Jesus, Daniel. Chandra. Gives Karn's Bastion, that's kind of annoying. Cast the Narset as well while we're at it. Keep our opponent from drawing extra cards, which is not necessarily something we want, but it did put a bunch of big beefers on the board. And we won't use Narset, nor will we attack. End the turn. Alright, so we got a lot going on here now. Looking for our opponent to escape their Pelucranos at some point. Alright, Plague Crafter. You got it. Ugin unable to be F'd. Let's see what of our myriad things they choose to Ugin. Yep, again, going for that. Pointed damage. We got an Ugin of our very own. So we will tick up Jace. We will tick down Narset. Our opponent will concede. I mean, at this point, I think it was pretty elementary. We were kind of burying them under a cascade of value. That's just what this deck does. If you give it time, even if I'm making play mistakes, it still just throws and throws and throws and throws. So that's 3 games. I think that's a halfway decent explanation of what the deck does. If you liked it, like I said, there's a deck list visible below. There is a link. You can click it, and it will take you to where the deck list lives on AetherHub. And if you like what you're seeing, it's www.supraliminalfilms.com. We can also be found on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Gimble, this video is for you. Bye, everybody.